Yo, what is up guys, Grim here, and today it is day 2 and I have had a full day of Blight action, and I wanted to make a video real quick highlighting my experiences and my first impressions for the league. So in the background here, you're going to have me doing one of the new Blighted maps. This is a tier 2 map, and it is a just an alt map. It doesn't have any oils on it or anything, and I'm running it with a couple of my friends. So I've done a few Blighted maps now as well, and I definitely have a bit of information on those to boot. So to get in with it, let's get started. I gotta say, Blight definitely did feel very rewarding while leveling. You got a lot of rare items, you got a lot of XP for the most part, and it was pretty fun to do them while leveling, and I actually did it for once. I felt like Legion was very punishing and very difficult in the early levels, especially without any uniques, so it did hold you back a little bit like that. But Blight did feel easy enough to do, and I did do quite a few of them indeed while leveling up. So I powered up through leveling and we got into early maps. And this is where we were going to find out something very interesting, how well Blight felt in maps. So to begin with, I gotta say, in white maps, the actual blights in the maps do feel just a little bit underwhelming in terms of the rewards. And I think they've done this on purpose, because once you start progressing into those yellow maps, you will start to notice more and more rewards and more difficulty. So to get more into that now, let's quickly discuss. So in white maps, I very rarely get more than 3 to 4 blight tendrils on any of my encounters. Now the rewards from these tendrils are perfectly fine. They're just like the Legion chests. I get like, sometimes I get like 2 or 3 chaos from a single blight. I'll get like rings, of course, which you can use for the chaos recipe, and all that other stuff like sack frags. Everything you have like come to expect from Legion, you can expect from Blight, like even enchanted helmet like kind of chests and all that kind of stuff. Now the question is, how well does this scale on into the higher tier maps? So once I started doing yellow maps, I definitely did notice an increase in my average number of blight tendrils per blight I was doing. So basically the way initially, obviously I've only played like a few hours of maps, I am seeing it working is that the higher tiers reward higher numbers of tendrils, which is a very good way to scale it, and it's a very good way to incentivize players to get into those higher tier maps. In addition to this, initially I found the blights to be quite slow and difficult to do. I had to rely heavily on my towers because my character wasn't very powerful, but as I'm gearing up now, I feel less and less reliant on my towers, at least in white and yellow maps, and I'm feeling like I could almost probably solo the blights without any towers. However, it does also influence my decision of which towers I want to build a little bit more. So I'm going for more slowing and minion based towers, whereas I was heavily favoring the fire towers before. Which were very, very strong at destroying monsters. So that's pretty interesting. My current combination and favorite towers are probably the stunning, slowing, and minion towers, with the fire towers if you need the DPS, which in the background we quite clearly needed. So very, very interesting there. In general, I think the strategy will probably be to sit around yellow or red maps, but we can't confirm just yet how it scales, and that's going to be pretty interesting. So let's move on to oils and blighted maps. So all of the oil modifiers have been released for the blighted maps, and I have tested out oils briefly, and I can confirm you can only put a maximum of 3 oils on a blighted map. So you can't, to my understanding, stack a ton of them on, which is a little bit disappointing. I really wish they had allowed you to put more oils on. I thought you were going to be able to put them in the map device, but it does seem like the maps do scale with pack size and quantity. So what this means is you're going to get more monsters coming out everywhere for more pack size and quantity. I'm not quite sure how it works, but it should be pretty interesting to test. And if this is the case, then obviously varling your blighted maps might be good. Using chisels, fragments, tempests, all these things could be very, very exciting to start using. And of course, the oils will be there as well. But in terms of what they actually do, we're not going to go too much into this video. Some of them look pretty good. But I was hoping for a little bit more, and I really actually do hope they go through and revise a few of those like kind of oil modifiers a little bit more, because I think they can make them a lot more exciting. Anyway, on to the acquisition of these things. So in my experience so far, I've probably done around about 100-ish to 150 maps, maybe a few more than that actually. I'm not quite sure, but in terms of the actual oil drop rates, oils are fairly rare in my experience so far. It'll be interesting to see how many actually do drop over 100 kind of maps, but so far we haven't gotten too many oils, and in addition to that, we haven't gotten too many blighted maps. Blighted maps also seem quite rare, with me only getting so far like 2. I think I got exactly 2 on the first day in the first sitting, and then I've woken up and played a bit this morning before the stream, and I've also gotten around 3 there. This is actually where we lose. We lose with like no time left on the clock. We were just finishing up the rewards, and we actually lose to a unique monster, which is pretty interesting. You can see there a big loot explosion, which is quite exciting, and then you also have all of the chests sprinkled around the map, which you can go ahead and loot as well, which is pretty cool, and I can imagine very, very rewarding on higher tiers. So, with the blighted maps and the drop rates and all that stuff out of the way, I did briefly want to talk about the actual blighted map experience. I'm actually going to loop this video back around again because I want to kind of reference it in the background here. So in the blighted maps, basically how it starts is you zone into the map, and it's very, very easy. You're going to start with a few tendrils, and you start with a ton of starting resources, and you actually do need to use these resources absolutely, as you can see how crazy it is. In my current gear level, this is a tier 2 map, and we were struggling with 3 decently geared players and way over geared for the tier 2 level. Like, we obliterate tier 2s, but this was a very different beast. It was very, very difficult, and you can expect like at least 10 plus unique monsters to be coming at you over the course of this encounter. So quite insane indeed, and these are very, very, very difficult, and I hope they keep them this way. I hope this is by intention, because it's extremely fun and I absolutely love these. This is actually one of the most fun league mechanics I've actually ever played in Path of Exile, and I'm very excited to be trying them out in tier 16 once I get a bit more gear. And one thing I actually want to mention is this is the best group content I've ever played in PoE as well. I actually do feel like there's a need for multiple damage characters. So if you like have a party of like 2 miners and a tornado shot player, everyone's actually very useful in this scenario because there's multiple different spawn points for the monsters and you're working together to kind of achieve a common goal. And it does feel like, oh, there's a big unique monster coming in, everyone get over here, quick DPS it. That feels absolutely incredible, and it's something I've never experienced in PoE before, and it truly is, in my opinion, the best I've like experienced group play in PoE. So I think if you've got some buddies to play with and you want to put together some blighted maps, maybe invest a bit of oil in there, it might not be the best returns, but you're going to have an absolute blast. And there's going to be a ton more videos about blighted maps and farming maps, but I just wanted to give you my first impressions, and that is that I think the league is absolutely incredible. There's a few pain points which I'm going to make a video about, but they're nothing major. Indeed, I think building the towers feels fine. I think that in general the rewards might need to be improved a little bit, just a small amount. I think they're definitely good. They're nothing like it was in Synthesis, but I do think they need to take a step up a little bit more, and then that would make it a really, really fun experience. So in terms of everything, great league, tons more content and analysis coming up, and I hope you guys are having as much fun as I am. I'll see you guys in the next one, or on Twitch, which I'm going live on now, and yeah, see you there.